Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of How to Airbnb. My name's Andrew and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about Airbnb. Let's go. First of all, I want to thank all you guys for watching this video. It means a lot to me. Thank you. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to manage your Airbnb. I hope you guys checked out my last episode. That's where I showed you guys my first listing. If you haven't seen it, make sure to click the link here. You'll be able to watch it. After finishing recording the entire video, I realized that it was 30 minutes long. So without intention, this is going to become a 3-part series. So at the end of this, make sure you watch part 2 and part 3. In this segment, I'm going to talk about setting goals, creating a listing, setting price, availability, and responsiveness. Managing your listing is a very personal thing to do. The big thing is, it's your home. You can manage it any way you want. The really cool thing is, you're the boss. It also really depends on what your goal is. Are you looking to put your place up for one night, a weekend, a week, a month? Or are you looking at it as a business? My recommendation is, no matter how long you think you want to host for, is look at it as a business. And when you do that, you're going to put in a lot more work than if you only have the mindset of, hey, this is just for one night or for one weekend. I don't really need to put in a lot of work. All I need to do is throw up some pictures, put a price, put a name, and people will come. That's not how it works. If you want bookings, if you want to rent out your place, you got to put in the work and you got to put in the time. It's also going to depend on what sort of listing you have. Is it a shared room, like a couch? Is it a private room, like a space in your apartment or house? Or is it an entire place? All of these things are going to influence how you're going to market your listing, how you're going to create it, and at what price point you're going to put it to. Now, this advice is going to be general. It's going to be for all the types of listings, and you can apply what I'm going to teach you to every single one. Let's start at the beginning, the listing. That's where you're going to start, and that's where you're going to put in the most of your energy and effort. The most important part of your listing are going to be the pictures. The pictures are what are going to attract the people to your listing initially. When people are searching through Airbnb, they're going to see a lot of different listings, and usually the ones that get clicked on are the ones that look the best. So when it comes to photography, invest in your pictures. If all you can do is take pictures with your cell phone for now, that's fine. But the moment that you have some income that you can spare, hire a photographer. It's less than $100 and it's going to pay off in 1 or 2 bookings, definitely. The next thing that's also important is your title choice. When you're choosing a title, it has to be attractive, it has to make sense with where you are, and it has to be original too. Some titles that I've used are Live in the Golden Triangle, Sightsee Ottawa from Centertown, Modern Living on Main, Maine Escape, Tokyo Treasures, The New Yorker, Downtown Waterfront, Sea Breezes Off the Harbor, Bachelor Suite in River Heights, Warm 1-bedroom condo in Glenwood, Aylmer. Now you can see that all of these listings kind of elicit an emotion in you while you're reading them. Some are very simple, but many of my listings actually give you an image while you're reading the title, and that's kind of what you want to do with your guests. You don't just want to be 1-bedroom land street. Even though I have a listing like that, it can still work. You want to be different and you want to be specific too. Next, we're going to talk about your description in your listing. After you've got your photography done, after you've spent some time figuring out a good title, it's time to sell the place. And how do you do that? Is you write an interesting description. In there you have, I think it's 150 words or 200 words that you can use to market your place. And if you're unsure of how to do it or where to start, just look in your neighborhood, find the Airbnbs that are interesting to you and look at how they market it. Like, you can always change this, so if you realize that in the beginning you're not getting a lot of tractions, you can always tweak your listing, change the words, even let somebody else read your description. Get advice from somebody that's not involved in the project. That perspective might even help you. Spend time on your listing description, make sure it's well written and it's very descriptive and that people will understand what you're offering. Now this next advice is actually something that I feel that a lot of hosts forget to do, and that's your profile. In your Airbnb profile, where you have your profile picture, you can write a blurb about yourself. And this is another good opportunity to market yourself and your home. People who use Airbnb like staying in other people's homes. They don't particularly enjoy hotels because they're cookie cutter, right? So what you want to do in your profile is be descriptive. Tell them a little bit about yourself. Paint them an image of who you are and what type of home they can expect to stay in. Let's talk about pricing your listing. How do you choose how much you're gonna charge? What's nifty with Airbnb is in the beginning, they are gonna recommend you a price and it is gonna be low, but if you don't have any reviews or you haven't had anybody stay with you yet, you do have to start fairly cheap. You have to give a reason for a new guest to come stay with you. They can either stay with you who has 0 reviews that are $100, or they can stay with a guest that has 100 reviews for $100. Who wins, right? The way that you make a difference is be cheaper in the beginning and scale up your price as you get more bookings and more reviews. Another way to choose your price is to actually compare your listing to others in your area. So go on Airbnb, look up your address, zoom in on the map exactly where you are, hit the selections. If you have a 1-bedroom, click 1 bedrooms. If it's good for 2 people, hit 2 people, and start pulling back with the map. And as it gets larger and larger, look for listings that are similar to yours and look at how much they're charging. And those are usually a good indicator of how much people are willing to pay. One thing I don't recommend is using Airbnb's smart pricing tool. It's not very good, and the reason why I say that is because it's made for guests. It's not made for hosts. So if you think as a guest, what do you want? You want the best listing at the cheapest price. So what happens with this Airbnb smart pricing is they're gonna go as low as possible to get guests to stay with you. And that just doesn't work. You need to be making money if you're going to be doing this. And by doing it for free, why are you even doing it? So let's say you are looking at this from a business perspective, right? Even if it's for only a weekend or a week, or if you want to do this full time. A good way to figure out your price is to go by your expenses. So look at your place, figure out how much it costs in total to run at the end of the month, figure out how much that number is. Once you have that number, you can actually start doing some math to figure out what's a decent price for you, what your minimum price is to be operational. So something that's obvious on Airbnb is if you do it full time, it's highly unlikely that you're gonna get booked up for all 30 days of the month. What I mean by that is you're gonna have days where people are just not gonna be staying at your home because it falls on a Monday and nobody wants to be there. And a good way to calculate your numbers is go by an average of about 20 nights. So take your expenses, divide them by 20 nights, and that's going to give you a pretty good nightly average. And hey, if you rent out more than 20 nights, which you probably will, you're going to be in the green. You're going to be making money. So that's a little tip that I use when trying to calculate how much I should charge for a listing. I'm going to talk about dynamic pricing services. There's two companies that I've used that are both really good, and they do everything I just explained to you automatically. And this is actually one of the services that I use with my clients, and they don't have to pay for it. It comes out of my pocket. And the two places that I use would be either 1, Price Labs, 2, Beyond Pricing. I'll put a link in the description. You can go check them out. They offer a really good service for pretty cheap. Like, it basically pays with itself. And the general motto behind both companies is not every night is worth the same amount of money. Like, you can't be charging the same price for a Monday as you would for a Friday, right? And dynamic pricing, what it does is it adjusts your prices every night, so you get the best price for that day. I highly recommend that you guys check them out. Availability in your listing determines how many people are going to see your place and how many people are going to end up booking. So the more available you make your listing, the less restrictions you put on them, the higher you're going to be in the search results. When it comes to instant booking, I highly recommend you use it, because if you're not using Insta Booking, you are not on the radar. Insta Booking on Airbnb is higher up than having to send a request. Think about it. People go on Airbnb, they want to find a place. They find a place they like, they want to book it, lock it down, and not wait. And afterwards, they'll go back and forth with the host. What they don't want to do is find a place they like, send a message, wait 2 hours before somebody gets back to them to tell them, hey, sorry, it's not available. Use Instant Booking, you're going to get more bookings, definitely. Responsiveness is a surefire way to turn more inquiries into reservations. The faster you reply to somebody, the more likely you're going to grab their attention, and you're going to start a dialogue, and they're going to choose your listing. Something you need to realize when people are looking for Airbnbs is they're not just looking at yours. Guests can send multiple messages to different hosts, and usually the first person to get back to them with a confirmation or an answer to their question are going to get the booking. Guests are looking for simplicity. If they have to wait an hour, 2 hours for a response, they're already going to find somewhere else to stay. The more eager you are to get back to somebody, the more likely you are to convert that person. So this is the end of part 1. If you click the link at the end of this video, you're going to get part 2. I recommend you watch the entire series to have a general idea of how to manage your Airbnb. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe before you go. And as always, keep hosting.